Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Here we are again reading Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yes, Canto 3, Chapter 24, Text 34. The Renunciation of Kardama Muni.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Okay, text 34. Today I have something to ask from you, who are the Lord of all living entities. Since I have now been liberated by you from my debt to my Father, and since all my desires are fulfilled, I wish to accept the order of an itinerant mendicant. Renouncing this family life, I wish to wander about, free from lamentation, thinking always of you in my heart.
Sounds like a good program.
Prabhupada. Actually, sannyas, or renunciation of material household life, necessitates complete absorption in Krishna consciousness and immersion in the self. One does not take sannyas, freedom from family responsibility in the renouncement of life, to make another family or to create an embarrassing transcendental fraud in the name of sannyas.
Powerful.
The sannyasi's business is not to become proprietor of so many things and amass money from the innocent public. A sannyasi is proud that he is always thinking of Krishna from within. Of course, there are two kinds of devotees of the Lord. One is called Goshti Anandi, which means those who are preachers and have many followers for preaching the glories of the Lord, and who live among those many followers just to organize missionary activities. Other devotees are Atmanandi, or self-satisfied, and do not take the risk of preaching work. They remain therefore alone with God. In this classification was Kardama Muni. He wanted to be free from all anxiety and remain alone within his heart with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Parivraja means an itinerant mendicant. A mendicant sannyasi should not live anywhere for more than 3 days. He must be always moving, because his duty is to move from door to door and enlighten people about Krishna consciousness.
Wow, wonderful. What an enlightening paragraph, purport about
Sannyas life.
sannyas ashram and roles and responsibilities, the dangers, so many things.
Very subtle. Even if you just get one follower, it's bad enough, you know. Imagine then when you start to get lots of them and people really, like, literally bow at your feet and offer you money, and you realize they'll do whatever you say. It's very dangerous. You have to be very grounded, you know, to not abuse that or enjoy that.
You have to be very Krishna conscious.
Yeah, definitely. Grave.
Atmanandi. Usually we say Bhajananandi. So here Prabhupada says Atmanandi. Self-satisfied person. Means that they just want to be alone with God. Don't want to take the risk of followers and stuff like that. It's interesting, he says sannyasi is proud that he is always thinking of Krishna within himself. I mean, usually we don't think that you want to be proud, but Prabhupada said he said one thing you can be proud of is that you're a disciple of your spiritual masters. You can be proud of that. So
you can even dovetail pride like that in Krishna consciousness.
Yeah.
You know, it's like everything is there in Krishna consciousness, so I can be proud. Yeah, I've heard that as well.
And also it's nice Prabhupada mentions that, you know, you meant to take sannyas to necessitate complete absorption, not that you do it so you get free from family, or so that you can go off and create another family. Of course, Prabhupada often said he left one family and he left a few children and a wife and went off to have so many children. So I guess in one sense, to create a spiritual family like that is not a problem. But what Prabhupada is probably referring to is, you don't just renounce your wife and kids and then go off and find a new wife and create new kids, like that. So make a mockery of the ashram.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're to amass money from the innocent public. That also can be a danger, as you were saying, right? Mm-hmm. That, people give you lots of Lakshmi, and, sometimes sannyasi could be more wealthy than the grihastas who are, have jobs and earning things, and because so many people are just giving them Lakshmi. So I have to be very careful of all these pitfalls and dangers.
Yeah, especially I guess if they start keeping it.
Yeah.
And then you're amassing that Lakshmi.
Yeah.
That's the danger.
Using it for their own personal sense gratification. Okay, text 35. The personality of Godhead, Kapila said, "Whatever I speak, whether directly or in the scriptures, is authoritative in all respects for the people of the world. O Muni, because I told you before that I would become your son, I have descended to fulfill this truth." Wow. So Kardama Muni has kind of like just been born, and he's already instructing it. Huh?
Kardama Muni, Kapila.
Kapila Muni. And already instructing his father and revealing his identity. Kardama Muni was to leave his family life to completely engage in the service of the Lord, but since he knew that the Lord himself, as Kapila, had taken birth in his home as his own son, why was he preparing to leave home to search out self-realization? What an amazing point, Yeah, you're going off to be alone with God. God just appeared in person in your family as your son. Wow, what a good question. Let's see what Prabhupada says. Search out to self-realization or God realization. God himself was present in the home. Why should he leave home? Such a question may certainly arise, but here it is said that whatever is spoken in the Vedas and whatever is practiced in accordance with the injunctions of the Vedas is to be accepted as authoritative in society. Vedic authority says that a householder must leave home after his 50th year. See you later. Pancha Surdvam Vanam Vrajet. One must leave his family life and enter the forest after the age of 50. This is an authoritative statement of the Vedas based on the division of social life into 4 departments of activity: brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas.
Kardama Muni practiced yoga very rigidly as a brahmachari before his marriage, and he became so powerful and attained so much mystic power that his father Brahma ordered him to marry and beget children as a householder. Kardama did that also. He begot 9 good daughters and 1 son, Kapila Muni, and thus his householder duty was also performed nicely, and now his duty was to leave. Even though he had the Supreme Personality of Godhead as his son, he had to respect the authority of the Vedas. This is a very important lesson. Even if one has God in his home as his son, one should still follow the Vedic injunctions. It is stated, Mahajano Yena Gata Sa Panta. One should traverse the path which is followed by great personalities.
Kardama Muni's example is very instructive. For in spite of having the Supreme Personality of Godhead as his son, he left home just to obey the authority of the Vedic injunction. Kardama Muni states here the main purpose of his leaving home. While traveling all over the world as a mendicant, he will always remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, and thereby be freed from all anxieties of material existence. In this age of Kali Yuga, sannyas is prohibited because persons in this age are all Shudras and cannot follow the rules and regulations of sannyas life. It is very commonly found that so-called sannyasis are addicted to nonsense, even to having private relationships with women. This is the abominable situation in this age. Although they dress themselves as sannyasis, they still cannot free themselves from the 4 principles of sinful life, namely illicit sex, meat-eating, intoxication, and gambling. Since they are not freed from these 4 principles, they are cheating the public by posing as swamis. There you go.
In Kali Yuga, the injunction is that no one should accept sannyas. Of course, those who actually follow the rules and regulations must take sannyas. Generally, however, people are unable to accept sannyas life. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stressed, Kalo Nashtiya Vinashtiya Vinashtiya Bhagati Anyata. In this age, there is no other alternative No other alternative than to chant the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.
That's not quoted.
Oh.
The main purpose of sannyas life is to be in constant companionship with the Supreme Lord, either by thinking of him within the heart or hearing of him through oral reception. In this age, hearing is more important than thinking, because one's thinking may be disturbed by mental agitation. But if one concentrates on hearing, he'll be forced to associate with the sound vibration of Krishna. Krishna and the sound vibration Krishna are non-different. So if one loudly vibrates Hare Krishna, he will be able to think of Krishna immediately. This process of chanting is the best process of self-realization in this age. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu preached it so nicely for the benefit of all humanity.
Very nice. Sun's really starting to come out now. Any thoughts?
Yeah, so, I mean, if God appears in your house as your son, surely you are above the rules and regulations and don't need to leave just for the sake of adhering to the regulation. I'd be like, no. This is the point of my meditation, and I have gone beyond the rules and regulations, quite frankly, because God has appeared as my son. Hare Krishna. But this is a different time, age and people, so I'll just stick to the chanting, because Prabhupada says you can do that as well.
Prabhupada also said only 50% of his work was done because he wanted to establish Varnashram, so I think that's a clear indication that it's time for us to go to the forest.
Right, okay. Like glamping.
Well, okay, if that's what it takes. It is Kali Yuga, isn't it? No
I wouldn't even do glamping, just so you know. I would not. Unless it was in a 5-star hotel, then I'd glamp.
Okay. So in Kali Yuga, the injunction is that no one should accept sannyas. And then Prabhupada says, of course, those who actually follow the rules and regulations must take sannyas. So it's kind of an interesting thing. No one should take, but if you're going to follow, you should take. I guess if the intention is to follow, then yeah, it's okay to take. But, we've seen, that there are those who take and don't manage to continue following. So I guess that can happen to anyone with anything. So it's not that you wouldn't take it up initially, but you shouldn't take it up if your intention is to be a cheater. But then, of course, those people whose intention is to be cheaters, of course they take it up because their intention is to cheat and they don't care about the rules anyway. So it just seems like, yeah, because that's the thing, right? In Kali Yuga, there are helicopters. In Kali Yuga, yeah, it's forbidden to take sannyas. So it's an interesting concept because, of course, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur knew that, but he still gave sannyas to many people, and Prabhupada also. So then, and of course, Lord Chaitanya himself took sannyas. And so I guess the point is, what is the purpose or consciousness behind the taking of sannyas? So it's forbidden to take sannyas for those who are basically of a cheating mentality. But for those who want to do it as service or to deepen their relationship with Krishna, but ultimately I think in Kali Yuga, as Lord Chaitanya set the example, is specifically for service and to help others. So like that. Any thoughts? Yeah. Moving right along.
Next verse. My appearance in this world is especially to explain the philosophy of Sankhya, which is highly esteemed for self-realization by those desiring freedom from the entanglement of unnecessary material desires. Purport. Here the word dura sayat is very significant. Dur refers to trouble or dukkha, miseries. Asayat means from the shelter. Reconditioned souls have taken shelter of the material body, which is full of troubles and miseries. Foolish people cannot understand the situation, and this is called ignorance, illusion, or the spell of Maya. Human society should very seriously understand that the body itself is the source of all miserable life. Modern civilization is supposed to be making advancement in scientific knowledge, but what is this scientific knowledge? It is based on bodily comforts only, without knowledge that, however comfortably one maintains his body, the body is destructible. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Antavantam ime deha, these bodies are destined to be destroyed. Nitya syokta saririna refers to the living soul or the living spark within the body. That soul is eternal, but the body is not eternal. For our activity, we must have a body. Without a body, without sense organs, there is no activity. But people are not inquiring whether it is possible to have an eternal body. Actually, they aspire for an eternal body, because even though they engage in sense enjoyment, that sense enjoyment is not eternal. They are therefore in want of something which they can enjoy eternally, but they do not understand how to attain that perfection. Sankhya philosophy, therefore, as stated herein by Kapila Dev, is Tat Twanam. The Sankhya philosophy system is designed to afford understanding of the real truth. What is that real truth? The real truth is knowledge of how to get out of the material body, which is the source of all trouble. Lord Kapila's incarnational descent is especially meant for this purpose. That is clearly stated here.
Thoughts?
Yeah, it's true that as you get older, you do actually realise these points more, because you become the guinea pig, as it were, and you see, I'm getting older, jeepers, like, and when you appreciate, it actually makes more sense.
In what way? Please expand. I'm getting older, so what?
Well, the body's getting older and it's giving you problems and it's miserable and it's getting like defunctioned and deformed and wrinkled and horrible.
Defunctioned and deformed.
And horrible. Let's
and
be
horrible.
honest, no one's growing older. Like,
Gracefully?
They may be graceful, they may not be kicking and screaming, but no one's getting out of her alive. That's for sure.
That's my line.
So, yeah, it's really important, because the irony is, it's like we hold a diamond, but we're not looking down to see that we're holding the diamond, and I'm looking ahead to see like how I can get happiness. And you think, but you had a massive diamond in your hand all along, and you held it for your whole life until you died. And most people still don't realise that they held it. What is that diamond? The diamond is that I'm a spirit soul. I'm Satchitananda, and I didn't have to be this miserable, and I didn't have to strive with the mind and the body and other people that make me miserable. And I could have been actually quite happy, because that's my constitutional position.
Yeah, Ananda, bliss.
But instead I just ignored the diamond in my hand and looked elsewhere. Now I'm dead.
Wow, it's amazing. Yeah, it reminds me of Kelly Kanana song. I just heard a couple of tunes from his EP, Falling Upwards. And the first track, he says, I spent my whole life climbing a ladder only to realize it was against the wrong wall. And it's, I don't think he kind of means that for himself, but in principle, that's what people do, isn't it? That's the idea. I've spent my whole life climbing the corporate ladder to realize, why the heck was I climbing that ladder anyway? So, yeah, we got the diamond. Use the diamond. Relish and cherish the diamond. Don't give it away for anything. Powerful. Thank you. And thank you. Hare Krishna. Antaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.